Hello and welcome to Street Mansion. I'm Kayla and today I want to show you my estate sale scores. If you don't know, you should know that I love estate sales. I've been going to them for well over a decade at this point. I used to go kind of like religiously. I would be the one who was there like before the sale started to get my number, to wait in line. And then something kind of happened, I don't know what, but they aren't as good as they used to be, and I've just had less and less motivation to go. I've basically had no luck lately. So I was really only going to this estate sale because I wanted to get out of the house. Some days I just need to get out, I need to be around people, I need to like just not be at home even though I love home. So I went to this estate sale and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get anything, but at least I will be out of the house. When I arrived, it was street only parking, and I am not talking like neighborhood street parking, I'm talking like hilly road with deep ditches, which I hate because I am so afraid of taking my car into a ditch, like when I'm like trying to park and pulling over to the side. Don't like parking like that. Also, there was only like one other car there, so it just felt very sketchy. I think depending on the day and how I was feeling, like how desperate I was to go to a sale, I would maybe not even park on the road like that, just because I don't like parking where it doesn't say I'm allowed to park. It feels like, I'm gonna get towed, and I don't want to get towed, but I really wanted to go. So I parked my car and I get out and I follow the signs. Let me just explain to you this driveway by telling you that I sent a picture of it to my husband and I said, this is how I get murdered. It was just a really long driveway surrounded by junk. It was winding, there's nobody else around. I can't see the house until I'm right on top of it. It felt very much like if I was following the wrong signs, it was somewhere you're gonna get shot for like creeping around. It was not a place I wanted to just be wandering. But baby, once I walked in, I knew it was on. So my first estate sale finds I want to show you are my books. You guys, somebody was a reader, and more than that, they were a big fan of horror. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. If you do, you probably have seen that I love reading. I tear through books, and I mostly read horror fiction. So this was a match made in heaven. Most of the books there were a bit older. There was a lot of like older Stephen King. So that was one of the few authors that I knew. But just like looking at the covers, I could tell that they were things that I would want to read. So I started making a stack and I felt like I made out like a bandit. This person had collected almost exclusively hardcover books. Some of them don't look like they've been read. They are in incredible shape. Like this is a score. I know that my junkin', thrifting, antiquing pals can relate to this. It's a lot of finding nothing, and it makes you wonder why you waste all of your time doing this. And then you get that score and it's on. It's all you want to do. And that is how I felt finding these books. It just felt like, this is why I do that. It felt so good. I spent well over an hour at the sale just stacking books, looking through all of the books, and exploring the house. So this house was wild. I don't know how to say this like respectfully, but I mean it with all of the respect. The people who lived there had to be weird. And like weird in the best way. I have so much respect for people who want to do like weird outside the box things, who have strange houses, who do things that just don't fit the mold. I don't want to see your boring, safe house. I want to see your house that has a basement level to second story spiral staircase all the way down, which this house had. It was so cool. I was thinking about this earlier and I was trying to think about like of things that I could list to tell you about like what a weird, fun house this was. But all of the things don't really seem that weird. Like there was a big bedroom and it had a ton of books in it. And then there was like a bay window that looked out into the woods from the bedroom. And that doesn't sound special, but it was special. It was such a cool house. And you could just tell that the people who lived there were eccentrics. I don't know. It was cool. I loved these people, even though obviously I've never met these people or seen these people. It was just a really, really fun house. I was very excited to go home and tell my husband all about this. I am a rambler when I'm excited about things. Could you tell? And I just couldn't wait to gush all about the house and everything to my husband. The first words out of his mouth when he saw my books were, why didn't you buy more of them? I talked about this briefly in the updated house tour video that I did not too long ago, that we have an upstairs room that I want to turn into a library at some point. But right now it's kind of like the kitty litter box room. And I don't really want to change that because I have a senior kitty who, she went blind at the beginning of this year, and I just really want to keep that like a safe space for her. I don't want to be like building in that room. So for now, it is just the kitty litter box room, but future library. Did you know that the definition of a home library is 1,000 books? So that is something my husband and I are trying to do. We're trying to get to 1,000 books, but it's extremely important to me that I am only adding things that I'm actually interested in to this library. There is no buying bulk books just because they're cheap and you can get a deal on a lot of them. I only want to add things that I'm actually interested in. So yeah, like when you go to an estate sale and there are books for $1 a piece for hardcovers, things that you're actually going to read, yeah, it probably is stupid to only buy 20. So my husband was basically like, you need to go back. Like, that was so dumb. Like, go buy more books. I did not go back on the second day of the sale. I just felt like, oh, I don't need to. I probably picked up everything that interests me. Like, I don't need to go back and buy more books. It's like, it's a little bit of a drive to get to this estate sale. So like, I don't know. I didn't need more books. Third day of the sale rolls around. It is a Saturday. My husband is off work. We're planning on going hiking, and I just coincidentally pick a hike that's right near the estate sale. We can just bop in, no big deal. So it's the last day of the sale. Everything is on sale, and my husband and I end up picking about 20 more books. Ugh. I can't get over this. 40 books from one person's collection. These are mostly all horror. They're all things I would read or I have read. I am so excited about this. I just can't get over the fact that I found an estate sale where somebody not only had a collection of books, but a collection of horror books, and that they're all in great condition. She even had a little, let me see if I can find one. Yep, here it is. A little book plate, one of those embossed book plate things. I have one too. I'm so excited to put mine right next to hers. This feels really special. I am oddly sentimental about this sort of stuff, so it feels really cool to bring home a big chunk of somebody else's collection and add it to my own. These are in good hands now. Since it's the last day of the estate sale and everything is on sale, I wander back down into the basement workshop because it was incredibly overwhelming that first day, and it was one of those things like books had a set price. They were $1 a piece. Cool. I hate asking for prices though. So in this basement workshop that's full of tools and machines and odds and ends, nothing's priced, which is very overwhelming for me. I hate asking because I feel dumb being like, ugh, no. Or like, you know, sometimes there might be something where you're like, I don't really need this, but if it had a price tag and that price tag was $1, I'd buy it. So I did not buy anything in the basement that first day I was there because it just felt like, I don't know, I don't need anything. There's nothing that I'm particularly looking for. But there was a set of drawers. I don't really know what you would call this piece of furniture, this thing, kind of like a card catalog type dealio, but with tools in it. And I spotted it that first day and I was like, that's really cool, but like, I don't need it. It doesn't have a price tag. I ended up asking about it and I was able to get it for 25 bucks with everything that was in it included. The only downfall was that it was literally the heaviest thing at the estate sale. And like I said, basement to second floor spiral staircase. It was gonna be a pain in the butt to get out of this place. We decided that we would take as many drawers as we could home in my car and then come back to the sale with Jeff's car, which can hold a little bit more than mine, and get the rest of the cabinet. I felt a little bit bad because I was making us take this like extra trip to get this thing that didn't feel essential, like I didn't need it. But now that it's in my basement, now that it's all said and done, I needed this. It is so perfect. We have a pretty big basement, and in the basement, there is a huge chunk of it that is like my workshop. It's where I have all of my tools and things, and it's very much a work in progress. It's a mess, and I think it's just because I acquired so many tools so quickly that like they don't really have anywhere to go, and because before we moved to this house, I didn't even own tools, it's like I didn't know how to even begin organizing them. It's all because I needed this piece of furniture. It's because I needed these drawers, you guys. It's so good. It's so good. Everything is so much more organized. It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was. It took me like 4 days 4 like good long sessions in the basement to get this to where it is right now. But it was the motivation that I needed to kind of move a whole bunch of stuff around and get it organized. My workshop is definitely the cleanest it has ever been and the most organized it's ever been. I did not know it, but I definitely needed that set of drawers. As for all of the stuff that was in the drawers, I spent forever going through everything, kind of hoping that I would find a stack of money or some secret stash of something, but I found nothing of interest. It's mostly like electrical stuff, but metal. So my dad suggested that I scrap it. I have not done that yet because I'm procrastinating, because I've never been to the scrapyard and I'm nervous. So glad I did not chicken out on this purchase. Like I said, I felt a little bit bad making my husband like take an extra trip there on his like day off of work, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. So my third amazing find from the sale is something that I actually spotted while we were picking up the last of the drawers. That guy's workshop was in the basement. So while Jeff and I ran home, the guy who was running the sale, he moved the rest of my cabinet and drawers out the back door. We got to see a bit of the house and the property that we didn't see before. I don't know if I mentioned this already or if you have noticed, but this place was surrounded by junk. There was just treasure everywhere. And when I went back around that corner, I spotted something that I was like, crap, I need that. So when Jeff and the guy came back around the corner from carrying a load, I was like, uh-oh, I see something I like. And I pointed it out to them. And then I spent like 10 or 15 minutes just kind of like wandering around the property, mulling it over in my brain, looking for other things that would kind of like warrant another trip back. It was definitely not going to fit in Jeff's car. Not ever, but especially now that we have like all these drawers and stuff in it. So it was gonna be something that I would have to come back with my dad in his pickup to pick up. But also, when would I ever have an opportunity to get this again? Could I really justify coming back to this sale for the 4th time just to pick up one big rusty thing? But from the second I saw it, I knew that it needed to be in my garden. I knew that it needed to be covered in plants, so I forked over 20 bucks. My dad and I went back the next morning. There was nobody there. The sale was over, and it felt definitely a little bit weird to be kind of like creeping around the property, but we had permission, so it was fine. I had noted on the day prior when I purchased the big rusty, a tree had grown up through it, so my dad and I came prepared with a little battery operated chainsaw, and we had to cut it out of a tree, which just feels really cool and feels like it adds to the story, adds to the excitement of my find, makes it even more unique. I chose to put it dead center in the middle of my garden, and you guys, this is what my garden has been missing. I've known since the beginning when we did the bricks in my garden and added that center garden bed that there needed to be like a centerpiece in the middle. I mean, obviously, I would love a naked lady fountain in the middle, just a ginormous fountain, but I'm not rich, and a $20 rusty metal thing that I had to cut out of a tree is a lot more my style. And you guys, it's perfect. The plan since the second I saw it was that I wanted to grow clematis on it. I'm a bit of a clematis collector. Woo! I'm a bit of a clematis collector, or at least I'm trying to be. I'm trying to add a new variety or two every year. I have this one variety. It is called Mrs. Robert Bryden. It's vining, but instead of being a climber like other clematises, it is considered a bush or pillar clematis, which means it needs some sort of support to grow up, or else it will just kind of ramble along other plants. And I have it growing in my garden in like a trellis thing that is like a pillar, and it grows up in the center, and it gets taller than me, and then it doubles over and spills to the ground. It blooms a little bit later than the rest of my clematis. It starts in maybe July and then goes till the end of the season. It's covered in little purpley white flowers that the bees love more than they love anything else in my garden. It is a showstopper for sure. I love it. It adds a lot of height to my garden that I think is just beautiful. So that is what I wanted in the center of my rusty thing. My husband bought me a new little start of that plant, as well as a new clematis variety that I did not have that is going to grow up the outside of the big rusty thing. So it's just going to add like a pop of color to this big white explosion of flowers. It'll take a couple years before it gets to where I'm envisioning it with, covered in flowers, but I'm obsessed. I love this thing. I feel like it's exactly what my garden was missing. It looks awesome. So those are the big things that I got at this estate sale that I'm super excited about. Other than that, Jeff got some DVDs. I got this really cool Switch from the basement. I honestly don't know how much I paid for this. I don't think it was much, maybe like $2 or $3. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but my husband, ever the enabler, said, I'm sure you and your dad can figure out something. I just think it's cool. I don't know. Also, I picked up a little bench that I put outside of my toad house in my garden, so it's like a little toad bench. All in all, some amazing finds. Truly one of the best estate sale experiences I have had in a long time, and it makes me hungry for more. I'm still on cloud nine. I can't believe I got all of the big things that I told you about. They all feel like they should have been from like separate estate sales. They were so good. But like just a huge book haul and that thing in my garden, gosh, I love it. I'm so happy. I'm already finding myself looking for estate sales more than I was. I'm in the mood for junk. I'm ready to find treasure. I mean, I'm sure it will be another few years before I hit another jackpot, but this feels amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.